Let's just try to do this with UI policy only first. If it is possible, we can, or we can then try to write a client script. But still, if you can do something with options and configurations, please go ahead and don't write a script. So the condition is if end date, why this is giving you these options, because it is taking these options from this table. That's why it is, giving you all those options. Only these fields are present. So if end date is less than 0 hours before start date, what you'll have to do is right click and save. We've built one condition. And do we have to write the script? Okay, yeah, let's just write a small one. If end date is less than start date, then put up a error message saying the same thing. Let's see if this runs. So I'm saving this right now.
And we need to apply that controls, otherwise it will run.
Sorry, apply what?
Uh, that controls. So otherwise it will run on all our incidents changes also.
No, it will not, because we are specifically writing this UI policy on this particular table only.
Okay.
And this table is also not inherited from the base task table. So it will not impact other tables. So we just created it without inheriting. So let's just see whether we can actually implement this or not. So if start date is 19th and end date is somewhat lesser than this, we're not seeing it. Okay, probably some conditions issue, or I have not built the conditions correctly. Yeah. Mm, or if somewhat end dates this is not working, you can directly go and write the script I will show you. This is now saved. Meeting rooms. No, we're not getting it. Removing this filter right now. What is the name of the start date field? It is u underscore start date, right? U underscore start date. Copy this. So getting the value of this field, saving it in start date, and same thing, u underscore end date, just giving it a variable name. And if end date is less than start date, then please give this error message. Getting the value of this field, getting the value of this field, comparing them like this and showing an error message. Hmm, this is very simple actually, it should now work. Okay, reloading it again, just in case. Start date is 23, end date is 4. Why? We have this. At the time of saving, it is coming. No. Yeah, we have it now. So let's create another record. Start date is 31. If anyone is saying something, I'm not able to listen. Please speak a little louder.
Maybe on selection of end date we need to say on loading of end.
Yep. So what is happening is if you select end date first. Oops. So this is also one of the way of creating a new record. You can just directly change the URL to this one. And let's just select end date first. 24th is the end date, and select this guy as 11. It will, okay, at the time of only saving it is
This
doing it.
condition is right.
Sorry, what?
So the condition which you mentioned, it is right. Start date is less than the
Yes,
end.
I have written end date is less than the start date.
Okay.
The condition is right. You're absolutely right.
Right.
So let's select end date first, 4, and select start date as 31, and you will
Right.
see the error
No.
at the time of saving. Yeah. Okay. This condition is somewhat working, but it should be working instantly. To I understood why it is not working. Let me just grab this thing completely copied and delete. I will write an on change client script. So, yeah. Why it is not working as expected? Because on the change of this value, we want to write this script. I will show you what I am talking about. So if you directly go and configure client script, configure the client script. So client scripts are of 2 3 types. I will explain you what are these types. So come up please. So the name is date validation running on U meeting room table, and UI type, it should be running on everything, desktop, mobile, and everything. The type of this will be on change, and this is the on change script will come up. What field which you want to work on? So I want to work on end date field. Whenever a value changes for end date field, this particular script should be working. So I have pasted this. I checked, okay, whenever end date will be changed, I will grab the value of start date, grab the value of end date, and compare these value. If that is lesser, it will actually do an instant error message over there. So now it will happen. Let me create a new record. So this is a new meeting room record. I come up, I change it, I made it 19th and change the end date to 3. And as soon as I selected, it is showing us the message. Why? Because whenever this particular field is changed, it will show you the message. Let's say I now select 31. this message will never be shown. So let's say again select 6, which is a lesser value, it will again show you message. But if you cancel this out and select another value which is a greater than, it will never show you. So on change will actually work on change of a particular field value. uh, yeah, and I was actually wrong. This should not have been done using UI policy. This should every time be done using a client script. So coming to this part, mm, you have created this. Now I'm trying to
In the UI policy, can't we make us like we have written function on condition, right? Instead of that,
on
can't we
condition,
write as
yes.
on change? On change?
No, no, it will not work because on change is a type of client script. This function will only run, this on change function will only run whenever you're actually running a client script. It will not run when you run a UI
Okay.
policy.
So UI policies are only for the conditions, and if I want to do on change on load, we have to use the client
Correct,
script.
correct. So now coming to
Okay.
the client script, what are client scripts? And so I'll give you a little overview. We only have 10 minutes. So basically, there are two things in ServiceNow, which is one is client side, one is server side. So as the name mentions, whatever is happening on this client level, client is what? Client is a browser. Whatever is happening on the browser level will be considered as a client side, and whatever is happening on the back end on the database level, let's say this is happening, the fetching of the value is actually coming from the table, sys user table. So it can be 639 values, in some time it can be two values, hundreds, 500s, or anything. So whatever the values are coming, these are coming from the server side. So there are two types. uh, Anything that is running on this particular uh, client level, you can see and you can make changes on or anything, will be considered as client side. And client side only, how would I actually explain you, is only applicable on the browser level, but server side is applicable on the browser and also on the server level. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say you have created one, uh, okay, yeah, we have created this on change client script, right? So this says we are not at all able to save any value which is actually lesser than this one. So this gave us the error and it will not allow you to save this particular thing because we are doing it on the client, on the browser level. But it will not give you the error if we try to make this particular change on the backend level, or some integration makes the change, or some server thing makes the change, or some business rule makes it the change. So let me go back and bring these values. So this is the meeting room table, start date and end date and meeting number. These four things I want the number to be on top and start date to like this. Okay. So this is the list. We were getting the error when we had the value of start date or end date in such a sequence of validation. So let's say I now give the value of start date to 1 and do a save. And now give, sorry, end date to 1 and do a save and give a start date to 24. It will not give me an error because that particular validation or the script was only written on client level. As the name suggests, it was a client script. So it only works on browser level. But anything you want to change it from the server side. So I'm making a change over here on the list view. I'm not making a change on the form. I'm making a change of the on the list, or anything that changes the value of some record from backend, from server side, or from some integrations, or from some business rules, or from some flow design or anything. Then it will not be applicable. To do that, we'll have to write some server side scripting. So to understand what some client side things are, it is UI policy. uh, Client script itself is a client side because the name says so. These things works on client side. UI policy, client script, yeah, these two. And what are server side things? Server side is a data policy. I will show you the difference of what is the difference between a UI and a data policy. And script include business rules. workflow, flow designer, integration, or anything that is actually trying to come from the server. So only UI policy and client scripts will be considered as a client side type of scripting, and these things will be considered as a server side type of scripting. What I meant to say is, let's say if I have written this particular client script or data policy, it will only be available or checking the validation on the browser level. But if I make it as a data policy, let's say, okay, let's say I want to make this meeting room field mandatory. So guys, how will you actually make this mandatory? You will go configure dictionary. The simplest way is this only: configure the dictionary and make this guy mandatory, because this is only impacting on meeting room table, and make this guy mandatory. So we are making this mandatory from the dictionary side. So please refrain yourself from making things mandatory like this, because this is good for the teaching or training purpose, but it is not at all good making things mandatory from dictionary level. It is always necessary, or you know always suggested to make things mandatory or read only using the client side methodology. So we have made this thing mandatory, and we cannot save the form without saving this thing. So this thing is not filled, and it will not allow you to actually save it. Will say this thing is mandatory, but this is not only working on client side, it is actually also working on server side. Why and how? Let me show you. Meeting rooms. If I click one meeting room and I try to yeah, I try to save this record. I'm trying to make a change in this particular date. Let's say I've made a change over here, and I'm not filling this particular thing. This is saying following mandatory fields are not filled, meeting room. So this has been implemented on the server side or the server level. So even from somewhere you're trying to come up and make a change, and that change you want to refrain anyone, not even the integration, not other things can actually bypass that. Then you will actually write something which is of server side. So the dictionary thing is actually a server side thing, which will not at all allow you to leave this thing on form, and not at all allow you to leave this thing on the server level itself. Let's say, mm, from the server level, how I should say is, let me explain you. Scripts, I have 3 minutes. I hope I can make it. I am trying to write one glide record, guys. uh, yeah, I'm writing this glide record on this particular table, and
What is this glide record?
I will explain you. Glide record is basically a SQL kind of code which will allow you to make the changes in the particular table's record. So let's say I'm trying to work on um, meeting room number. Let's say I've saved this thing, or let me create one. Leave. Meeting room number 18 is I'm trying to fill. Start date is this and date is this. Obviously, this will not allow me because the validation is in place. 31. And I have selected the requested for as this particular user, and the participant is this guy. And I have saved this record. So I have copied this number. I'm coming to the slide record, and I said where number is my specific number, this guy, and query. And if I find the record, please try to change uh, the end date. Okay, go ahead and conf you end date is this guy. Mm, So instead of this value, I will now try to give it the value of 28. So what I'm doing is I'm going to the meeting room table, finding a record with this number 118. This record I'm trying to change on, and I'm querying this. If I find this particular record, please set this and do what? This should be gr. I will explain you this in later class, gr.update. But what I'm actually trying to show you is the concept of client side and server side. Okay, I run this script. It will find meeting record number 18 and change the value of the end date from 31 to 28 from backend or from server side. You see, if I now run this query and reload this page, you will see this particular value will update. Yeah, it got updated. Oh, the value is this only. I need to do something else. Let's say I go to this user. Instead of making it this guy, I make it this guy. And I try to open this, copy the SSID. Instead of making a change over here, u underscore requested for. Okay, let's just try this one now. Refreshing this. This record is not saved. This record contains meeting number 118. Yes. The requested for is currently user 1, and I will now try to change the requested for to currently user 2, and I will change it to user 1 from backend. So I have changed it. 1 is updated, and hey, why man? Is it creating a new record? This is weird.
Can we put breakpoint here or no?
Yes, we can. Yeah, it got updated. Okay, so sorry, my bad. So this record previously had user 2, and now it has the value of user 1. Let me do it again. So I'm trying to save this guy, and the condition is I'm making this thing empty right now. Uh, okay, let me just select one value. Definitely I cannot do it like this. Or let's just, if I try to make a change and make this meeting room as empty, u underscore meeting room value. So what I'm trying to do is I'm fetching this record. Oh man, that code went off. We'll have to do gr.get again. Get for this particular value. We are obviously late. Set value of one particular thing. u underscore requested for one value. I'm changing to something else. Let's say user one. And the second value I'm trying to change is tr.set value of the second field, which is meeting room, u underscore meeting room. And I'm trying to change it as empty. So what I'm doing is on this meeting room record, I'm trying to go and find this particular record, which is 118, changing the value of requested for from user 2 to now user 1. It is not saved, you can see it is only user 2 right now. And also changing the u underscore meeting room value to empty. Currently it is uh, gf1, ground floor 1. But if I try to even make it from backend, try to make it empty and save the record, it will not allow me to save because we have the dictionary item ready and I have made it empty. Oh man, it became empty. Okay, sorry, my bad. Maybe I'm having a very bad day today. uh, we will try to work on these client scripts and server side scripts tomorrow, and I will explain you thoroughly what is happening actually. Something is not allowing you to make a change on client level, another thing is not allowing you to actually make a change either on client level or on server side level. uh, Please try to create this particular table, which is meeting room, in your own instance. Try to work with these conditions, start date and end date validations, and make some things mandatory and non-mandatory according to your choice. So this is for today's class. Mm, I will try to correct some things in this dictionary level. Okay, so any questions for today? Yeah, we have so many. Even myself, I'm having so many. Why it is not actually working? But apart from this, any questions on creating the table and creating the fields?
Gaurav. Hello, Gaurav.
Yes,
I am Shiv Sai. I am new to the session. I have a few doubts regarding this course. Can I ask you?
yes, yes, you can, sure.
I think you covered this course of both CSA and CST completely.
Mhm.
You will cover the content of CSA and CSD.
CSA and CAD. So the
CAD,
basic, yeah, basic administration and development.
CAD also completely.
Yes, we will cover the development thing.
Uh,
But see, preparation
the
of the certificates is probably not covered in this because CAD is itself a very complex certificate to pass the exam for. So to confirm all these things, you please connect with Prasad. But yeah, basic development and JavaScripts and basic administrations we will cover definitely in this course. And
and
whatever the real case scenarios we can cover.
you mean you completely cover CSA and some topics in CSD you covered. Am
CAD,
I right?
yes, yes, we will cover.
Uh, where I can find the remaining topics?
Mm, so you can ask Prasad for the remaining topics that we have, the topics that we have covered up until now, and the remaining topics that we will be covering in next classes.
Not like that. I am asking where I can find that resource, either online or any other
No,
platform. Y- You don't know?
no, the topics that we will going to be covering in this class.
I am asking about the remaining topics. What we are not covering in this session.
That list is with Prasad. You can ask for that particular document, and he will
Uh,
share with you.
okay. Is there any mock test to practice for CSA?
Yes, there are some that are with Prasad. So there are some of the mock tests also and some dumps also that he will provide that will be helpful in clearing the exams.
So it is
Okay.
completely objective exam, Gaurav.
It is objective, yes.
Okay. Can you suggest
Like compared
any
to
book?
CST, CSA is easy one.
CSS is particularly easy. And
Okay.
CAD, which is Certified Application Developer, is a
Okay.
little bit complex, but yeah, after completing this course, you
Okay.
will definitely be able to clear it.
Okay. Got you. Thank you.
Can you suggest any reference book for CSA and CST?
The reference is basically the ServiceNow website. You can go and complete the course from there, because yeah, it is actually mandatory for everyone, even a guy has dumps or not, or has even the vouchers or not. They will have to go through the course content first on the ServiceNow website. They'll have
Okay.
to clear that, complete that, pass its test, and then they will get their voucher, and then they can write the exams.
Okay. Okay.
Everything will be coming from nowlearning.servicenow.com.
Okay.
This is, everyone will have to go through it. Even if someone is experienced or fresher, they will have to go to this website, learn it, and then they can do it. But yeah, this is a little bit complex and a lengthy learning process, what we are learning right now. You can connect with Prasad for this. Sai.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye bye.